Okay, looks like, geez. Okay, looks like we're live here. See if we get anybody come in the chat here. See, let's give it here. We'll see. Okay. Just going to see if we're going to get anybody come in here to the chat. Is that the background music? Oh, I think I got this playing. Okay. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. All right, I'll show the chat. See if anybody hops on here. So this is who we're. This is coming through. Missy Bevers. It's a picture of her there on the right. Uh, I'm gonna go ahead and start. So I know it's come in. That's all right. Turn the fan up a little bit here. There we go. I got my Pirates jersey on. It's a little warm. Hmm. Okay. It's been a while since I went over this case. So on April 18th, 2016, the body of fitness instructor Terry Leanne Missy Bevers. So she went by Missy. The real name, I guess, was Terry Bevers. Was found at Creekside Church of Christ in Midlothian, Texas. Missy's murder generated significant media attention after Midlothian police released surveillance footage from inside the church. She has her own Wikipedia page. Um, so it happened April 18th, 2016. I believe she was 46. She was born in August 9th, 1970. Uh, and Camp Gladiator. So I think I got it from here. Camp Gladiator is where she worked. I believe she was a special needs teacher, and we just did Sebastian, and just a wonderful, wonderful soul. 46, I believe, when this happened, and we'll get into uh, the surveillance. They have the murder suspect on yeah, on camera inside the church, and they're wearing SWAT gear, which it looks to be like made up SWAT gear. The helmet is like a gloss, a real shiny helmet. And if you know anything about military or SWAT, that would stick out like a sore thumb. Um, so and they don't know what happened. They can't really tell if this person is female or male because it looks like they're probably. I believe they said they're probably around 5'2" to 5'7". The walk at times has a woman sway to it, and you'll see that in the footage, and I will show it. I got some videos here to show, and I don't know how long the video is. I think it's maybe around 10 minutes. They took some of it out. They have more footage, but they took some out. And then there's a car that drives around earlier in this. I believe it's like a gun shop. There's other shops. It's a building, and they're in like a white car. I think maybe a Nissan or something. And they're going around the building, and they kind of stop. They have their lights on. They turn their lights off. Then when they leave, they put their blinker on. This is like I think 3 o'clock in the morning, around 3 o'clock in the morning, or midnight, or 3 o'clock. I think it was 3 or 4, and they believe that was the person in the surveillance video inside the church. They really can't tell for sure, and they got this footage, and we're talking. This is a point I want to make about the Sebastian thing. A lot of times, this is 2016, but a lot of times these cameras aren't real reliable. There's so many cases where where cameras have not picked somebody up, or they're grainy, or there's some sort of, obstacle in the vision where you can't tell who the person is. It's very unfortunate. And so far, they haven't really been able to do anything with this footage to identify who this perpetrator, person of interest is. They can't, like I said, can't even tell if it's a male or female. And the husband, Brandon Bevers, was out of town at the time. He was on an annual fishing trip, I believe down in Biloxi, Mississippi. And they were going to go on a boat, and he would have been out of pocket, where they couldn't get a hold of him. But they got a hold of him actually before he took off. So, and he was able to come back. So he has a really a great alibi. Um, when these things happen, a lot of times they suspect the husband, and he come back home. He drove back home with somebody, so there's an alibi. There's a witness to the alibi. And we'll show some interviews of him. He come home, and then he did an interview right off the bat, pretty much like right soon as media and stuff was there. I'll find that he was outside in his yard. They interviewed him. And then there's see, make sure I don't jump ahead here. I believe one of the campers found her body after it happened, and so I believe she got there. She's supposed to be like 5 or 4 in the morning or something, and the night before she posted, I think, about the Facebook because it was raining that night onto that morning, and it was on her Facebook for us her Camp Gladiator, like I said, we're called campers. It's like a fitness thing where they train you, and I think it's like maybe like some CrossFit to it, and it's kind of training I do that stuff. It's more for like strength and stamina, where you're kind of at your physical peak. And as you'll see pictures of her at 46 years old, she was in phenomenal shape. One of the campers found her, and they called the police. The police came, did their thing, and then I believe one of the friends or one of the campers called Brandon, the husband. He came back, like I said. They found the footage, which will show the surveillance footage, which is a big part of this. And it's the only one I know where somebody went inside a church, I could be wrong, dressed in SWAT gear, which looks to be like homemade. The jacket might be legit. The shoes look like they're way too big for this person. It almost looks like maybe a woman or a smaller person wearing somebody's gear that's a couple sizes too big for them. Or it's the gear kind of pieced together. You can't see their face. There's a helmet. They might have like a little, I don't know what it's called. Geez, I used to know. It's like a ski mask, but the eyes are open. People zoomed in on these pictures and everything else. And you can't even see the license plate of the car earlier. And then there's stuff that happened later with the father-in-law of Missy, the father of Brandon. There was a shirt that he took to the dry cleaners that had blood on it because his wife's dog and his daughter's dog got in a fight. It was a little chihuahua. Unfortunately, got the worst of the fight, passed away. The shirt, I guess, was $100 shirt. Well, I understand, a very expensive shirt. And it had blood on it, so they took it to the dry cleaners to try to, it's probably $15, $20 to maybe get that blood out to save a $100 shirt. I totally understand that. I got, $110, $150 white jersey on, and that's a lot of money. And especially a lot of money to pay for a Pirates jersey because they freaking suck, by the way. But, the heart wants what the heart wants. Thanks to my uncle, my dad, getting me into being a Pirates fan. Oh, man, it's been a rough ride. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I could see the point that people were, why would, they take this shirt? Why wouldn't they just throw it away? $100 shirt? That's a lot of money. And so the dry cleaner called and said, hey, there's blood on the shirt. I believe the dry cleaner sent the police. Police did their thing on it to see what type of blood it was. It was a dog blood. It checked out. Brandon and his dad went down to the police department and to clear things up. And I respect that because usually guilty people hide for the most part. They went right in to clear it up. And when he went in, it appeared that he walked similar to the perpetrator and that become a thing. Now, I'm not saying he's the guy or whatever. And a lot of rumors spun off on that, and I'll leave it at that. A lot of people walk like that, you know, and plus he didn't have boots and cargo pants. He had shorts and I believe flip flops. If I may be wrong, I think he had shorts on. My guy's in Texas. I believe it's always hot in Texas. There might be some parts that's not. I was stationed down in San Antonio for a couple months, June and July, and it was hotter than the freaking Gulf, Persian Gulf. I remember, yeah, like I was stationed. We had black flag, which means it's too hot to PT outside the whole time, and we marched to class. It was miserable. I stayed in the barracks and the AC the whole time. I think the only time I went off was to watch the actually the Spurs won the national or the finals, and I believe I went to one of the parades. I went down there to the boardwalk, the mall, which is really cool. Glad I did that. But man, was it hot. So that's pretty much it. You know, Brandon did the husband did a interview on a radio channel maybe about a year or two ago. There's 2 parts on it. I might show a little bit of that. I definitely want to show the interview outside his house because that's right after this happened. You know, it's one of those cases. It seems like, man, you're just right there. You're just, you know, it's just right at the tip of the, you know, your fingertips to solving it, and you know, it's just crazy. Like this one's still not solved. But yeah, let me go ahead and play some videos here, and let's kind of get into it.
This case obviously capturing attention around the world over the past 5 years, spawning Facebook groups, YouTube videos, and even more, all dedicated to unlocking this mystery. That movement includes 2 local mothers who are helping keeping the spotlight on that suspect. More now from Madison Sawyer.
Who killed Missy Bevers? The mystery has sparked theories and speculation from the beginning.
Maybe the suspect didn't know whether or not the church had an alarm system.
Could that kind of car be mistaken for the dark SUV seen leaving the church that morning?
This person was having trouble walking. They had an injury.
Social media has made it easier than ever to share information and trade ideas. That's how Crystal Lawson of Frisco and Renee Rodden of Waxahachie.
So, yeah, it's a good place to stop it. So there was an SUV sighting that night, so that's a big part of it. And they're getting ready to show these lovely ladies here. I recommend go. I think they're on like Spotify, and they do some YouTube videos. They're from the town, I believe. I can't. Well, yeah, I can do it with my mouse. I believe this is Renee here. I believe she worked. I think her name's Renee. She worked with Missy at one time, I believe, at a clothing store. And they do a lot of. They're on, like I said, YouTube. I believe they're on Spotify. True Crime Broads. I recommend them. They've been on this case for a while.
Hatchie found each other.
Renee and I met because of our obsession with this case.
We started, messaging each other, and then eventually started talking on the phone.
The women now run a Facebook group dedicated to the investigation.
A Facebook group
Last year, they wanted a new way to share their research with the public.
We decided that we were just going to try to take every aspect of the case, and we see all these people asking questions, and then put all that together and try to be, helpful in some way, and maybe get more ideas, and just keep the case alive.
The True Crime Broads podcast launched in 2020. Each episode focuses on elements of the case, breaking down the video, theories, and suspects. What began as a conversation between the two has evolved, attracting investigators and analysts often seen on national.
So there's a picture of Missy. Beautiful, beautiful lady. And Renee and the other girl, woman as well. So there's a couple other creators I would recommend. Gumshoe, he does YouTube, and then Tom Webster, who's done like 5-6 hour thorough videos. I think he went and did, and I could be wrong, but like he did stuff with the license plate, and then he went and I think, man, this is how thorough he was. I believe that he went and tried to find out all the people in Midlothian that were between the height of 5'2" to 5'7". So, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and play the rest of this.
Networks.
It's really great to have these guests on and hear their professional opinions because we're just two moms at the podcast.
Their work has also opened the lines of communication with Missy's husband, Brandon Bevers.
And he was very supportive, and he's been very kind to us, and he answers questions when we have them. He's been through so much, he and his girls. It's just incredible.
And they've inspired others to help. One listener paid for this billboard to stay up indefinitely.
He said it was very important to him to help get justice for her.
And that's what they want too, justice for Missy. A year into their podcast, sometimes the women say they run out of things to say. But when asked if they will eventually end the podcast,
we just couldn't stop because we knew that this was important to get justice for her.
Madison Sawyer, CBS 11 News.
The True Crime Broads say that listener who paid for that billboard is also offering $100,000 as a reward in this case.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Midlothian's police chief told us the man still has to meet Crime Stopper requirements, but he's hopeful that that money could shake loose the tip that breaks this case.
Yep. Here's another one. So let me go back here and double do this. So, yeah, I didn't know. I forgot about the $100,000 reward. It might be more than that now. Yeah, so they showed the husband there. We'll get into that. Get into some interviews he did. Trying to think if there's really anything else that I'm missing, and I probably am. But let me go ahead and see if I can find. Let me do this, and let me see if I can find a interview of Brandon that when he was interviewed right off the bat. Actually, yeah, let's show the video. Let's show. Yeah, there's a lot here. Well, we'll hold off on that. Trying to find an interview where he was outside the house. Here's one where he sat down. Let's go ahead and show this one.
We begin with that Brandon Bevers interview. On April 18th, the murder of his wife, Missy, occurred at that Midlothian church. First on Fox 4 tonight, Richard Ray with his reaction to evidence tonight.
I'll show the security video last, I guess.
Good evening, Steve and Heather. Brandon Bevers has from time to time talked to reporters, but not since Friday's news conference in which police did give an update on the investigation, offered some new information, and ruled out family members as suspects, at least for now. But Bevers told me this afternoon no one should be ruled out of this investigation, including him.
It's very bizarre, to say the least.
More than a month has passed since the murder of Brandon Bevers' wife, Missy, bludgeoned to death inside a Midlothian church with some kind of a tool the killer used to break in. That killer seen on surveillance video dressed in what looks like police tactical gear. An apparent burglary, but nothing taken. the fitness instructor attacked when she arrived to lead an early morning workout class, a crime that has drawn national attention.
In a strange way, I'm thankful for the attention that this is receiving. But it goes back to the fact that this happened in a house of God, and that's pretty disturbing.
This is it's a hard investigation.
Last Friday, police updated the investigation, sharing their belief that the killer, man or woman, was between 5'2" and 5'7", sharing a picture of a car they're looking for, a Nissan Altima, seen in the area the morning of the murder.
We don't believe this is the vehicle of the killer.
Brandon Bevers says he's insisted on weekly meetings with investigators and met with them again today.
I don't know if it's business related or some kind of jealousy. I've pretty much exhausted every scenario and every avenue that I can think of who could have done this.
Bevers applauds police efforts, but admits to being discouraged.
I'm discouraged to the point where I truly want to just reach out to this individual myself. As odd as it may sound, I can truly forgive you for what you've done, but only if you come forward, turn yourself in, do what's right. You know, don't live the rest of your life with this on your heart, because it will eat you like cancer. The same applies with my family. We need closure. This is going to eat us alive for many years to come.
Bevers says his 3 daughters are doing as well as he could hope for. He's tried to insulate them from revelations in the investigation, including evidence of marital and money problems. Police have questioned some men about their...
So here's the press conference. Let's do this. Just gonna play it. Not even pause it with it.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kevin Johnson. I'm the Assistant Chief of Police here at Midlothian Police Department. Just want to take a few minutes to update the community and our media partners on the ongoing investigation into the death of Terry Leanne Bevers, known to her family and friends as Missy. As you probably already know, this case weighs very heavily on us. Our investigative team, our department, we know that the community is hurting as well. We're committed to identifying the person or persons responsible for Missy's death. We're not going to rest until we do so. We're fielding numerous tips in this case, and we will continue. We will be committed to tracking down every lead. We released some additional surveillance footage from inside the church just a few minutes ago, and that can be found on our social media sites. We really do believe that somebody still knows that this person is out there. Somebody knows who this person is, and they haven't yet come forward. We're convinced of that, and we ask the public to analyze the footage once again, watch the mannerisms and walking style of the suspect. If they have any information, please contact us. Our investigation has included the execution of several search warrants over the past couple of days, and they form the basic building blocks of our investigation.
Search warrants are good.
Here's what we know right now. The suspect arrived at the church first and forced entry into the location. Missy arrived a few minutes later. First time surveillance captured the suspect on video was about 10 minutes before 4 a.m. Miss Bevers arrived at about 4:16 in the parking lot and entered the church immediately. A few minutes later, she was inside the church, not realizing the intruder was already inside, and shortly thereafter, she was murdered inside of the church. We're not going to discuss the details of how Miss Bevers was murdered. Our communication center received some calls to 911 at about 5 a.m. reporting the incident to Midlothian Police Department.
Yeah, that's good.
Just want to reiterate that our top priority is finding Mrs. Killer.
Put that out, the details.
Again, want to appeal to the public that no matter how insignificant they feel that a tip might be, that they please do reach out to us. Oftentimes, that's just the break in the case that we need. Something somebody thought was small turns out to be significant. We've established a hotline for tips, and that number is 972-775.
You hear that all the time. One tip could bust this case wide open.
Oak Farms Dairy has also partnered with us and offered up a $10,000 reward for information leading to the arrest or indictment of Mrs. Killer. We're collaborating with multiple federal partners in neighboring jurisdictions. We have a competent squad of investigators sifting through all the incoming leads. Those agencies have provided an overwhelming outpouring of resources and personnel So one thing I want to tell our community is that we are still here and available to provide our normal emergency public safety services. So don't hesitate to call us if you're in the community and you think that you have a need that we need to respond to. We're certainly capable of continuing that service. Also, a thank you to our community. The outpouring of support has been tremendous, and we do appreciate that. It hasn't gone unnoticed.
Here's the number.
The other big story here at...
So that's the number. Should pause that. But that, yeah, that's the press conference. I'm glad that they didn't put any details of the murder, type of murder. There's rumors that she was shot. And, I don't know if I can say that. This is the, I'm going to play this. This is the father-in-law, Randy Bevers. This is, I believe, one of the interviews he did. I think this is one of the interviews together. I don't know if this is where they went in about the shirt. I think they do ask him about the shirt.
Just want to get you out to Midlothian Police Department right now, where Brandon Bevers, the husband of the wife, Missy Bevers, who was murdered just over 10 days ago, and his father, Randy Bevers, are talking. Let's listen in.
They had everything. They have my flight tickets, the rental car that we rented in Gulfport, Mississippi. Matter of fact, when I pulled into my driveway Monday at 3 p.m., I was in a car with Mississippi plates on it. And I mean, all of that's a non-issue.
Randy, minor thing, the dry cleaner had your shirt listed as a
Here it is about the shirt.
double XL shirt. Just a mistake. That's your shirt. The dry cleaner listed your shirt with the blood stains on it as a woman.
Well, my wife's white shirt had blood stains on it too. So both of us had blood stains on her shirt and mine. So because it,
So there are two shirts with blood on it.
Yeah.
The one on listed one. Where's the other shirt?
The dry cleaners.
So the dry cleaner calls and says there's blood on.
I don't know what I don't know the conversation between the cleaners and the police station. Okay, I don't know that conversation.
So you're saying there's blood on two shirts.
There's two shirts that's got blood on. Okay.
And then Randy, even though it's brought you this attention,
He seems like a guy that gets ahead of things. He tried to trip him up there.
You better believe it. You better believe it. If they weren't, they wouldn't be doing their job. Okay, so by them doing this, it tells me that they're being diligent and doing their job.
And that's a good point. Like they're going,
tiny little
your friends and family are going to look into you.
And it should be. So that's great.
I like that attitude.
Chihuahua. I know I keep a lot of my dog.
No, my wife would have, but I don't have one. But but it's just little.
That was like
that'd be awful, man. With everything going on,
the dog was a very precious animal to her.
Yeah, it was very,
What's his or her name?
Huh? Kilo.
Kilo.
Can you get your wife to email us a picture of the dog?
Well, we'll see.
It's up to the wife.
Did you guys
it's
talk
up to the
about
boss.
anything else with the investigators other than the shirt and the dogs today?
Not really. We've been just sitting in there waiting for you guys to show up. So.
And I know, Brandon, you've talked with investigators several times. You continue to do that clearly. I mean, how many times would you say you've talked with them?
Yeah. I've only had one formal interview that was in an early stage of the game, but and they call me periodically, and I call them periodically because I think of certain things that I want to make sure that they're looking into. I even called them today, and I was like, "You need to look into this avenue. You need to look at this," and in 90% of the cases, they've already done it. So, but it's, I sit and I think about catching this person, and I think I just role play in my mind any possible leads that I can give. But in 90% of the times that I've reached out to them to provide them this information, they've already gone down the avenue.
And I know when we talked with you last, you had said that you believe she walked in on a burglary.
I need to clarify that. When I came up here to review, now you got to remember, that was on Tuesday or Monday when I gave that statement?
I want to say it was Tuesday.
Okay. You got to remember, no sleep. I'm in bad health.
He never really said what was health-wise going on with him.
And
I don't think.
no, I do not believe that she was. I believe that she was targeted. Okay, that's my opinion. That's not any information that anybody provided me, but I believe she was targeted.
For what reason?
So he, at that time, he believed that she was targeted.
For
You wouldn't
reasons of
know. I mean,
evidence, I'm
man,
not
there
gonna
would be
say
so
that.
many different theories swimming around your head.
But there's no reason if a person, you have to ask yourself, if a person's going to break into a church, what are they going to take? What are they there to steal? AV equipment? I work in a church. Some of the most expensive equipment in a church is AV equipment, or money from tithings from the previous day. Okay, those are the two things.
So we're listening to that's Brandon Bevers in the checkered shirt and his dad next to him, Randy Bevers. And the whole reason they're at Midlothian PD this afternoon talking is because the father and the father-in-law of the murdered Missy Bevers showed up at a dry cleaner, had bloody clothing, and the dry cleaner brought that to the attention of Midlothian PD, obviously. And a lot of questions been swirling through this afternoon. That blood, could it be tied to the murder of Missy Bevers? And the police department, we've been in communication with them. And the late word is they believe the story of Randy Bevers, and that is related to an animal involved, a dog, and some bleeding was involved in some kind of incident with a dog.
We do want to make clear, though, that no suspects' names have been released. We're just hearing questioning and both of them addressing the media right now.
Yep. There you go.
Okay, here's the interview I was looking for.
Y'all ready? Yeah.
This is fresh. I mean, I think like maybe the next day or same day.
Okay. I just want to make a statement. Is that all right?
Oh gosh, that volume is low, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't.
I said, hang on, I'm having a problem.
I'll let him get ready.
All right, hold on. Let me see. I might see if I can do subtitles on
And
this.
y'all can funnel this up to the other
Yeah.
media outlets, okay? And I can be done with it.
Almost.
Okay.
Oh, you can't see subtitles, can you?
We really just hoping y'all speak from your heart. And then we all just say, we are sorry. We are sorry for what you resolved.
I appreciate it. I haven't had a whole lot of time to,
Hold on, let me see
I
if
haven't
I
had a
can
lot
do
of time
some
to
stuff
get
here.
emotional about this yet. I've been dealing with the immediate needs of my children. I mean, this morning I've had some. This morning I finally started thinking about the events that occurred yesterday morning, and so I'm starting with that process today. You got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sorry about that, too.
That's hard to hear.
The main purpose here today is solely to communicate to the people in the community and to everybody watching and listening.
God, get these.
My wife was she was a godly woman, and she was she was very passionate about changing people's lives with fitness and changing their mental attitude towards their body and themselves and their abilities in life. And personally, I haven't involved myself in a lot of what she does, but now that I'm seeing some of her campers, I've noticed a substantial impact that she's had on so many people's lives, and I'm very proud of her. And I just want it to be publicly known that we are very proud of all of the passion and effort that she's put into so many people's lives. As far as the perpetrator, I don't know. We still don't know who he is.
Sorry, yes, I think it's real
but
low.
I ask everybody out there to review the video. I think you can get the video on the Midlothian Police
Just trying to get that
Department's
join the
Facebook
live
website.
banner off so we can see the
Look at the
subtitles.
video. The person has a very distinct walk. There's just a very distinct mannerism about this person that should be very apparent to somebody. Okay. I don't believe there was a vehicle there. This perpetrator, I don't know if he walked into the facility or if he got, we don't know how he arrived at the facility. But I'm just hoping that somebody either saw something or somebody can recognize the mannerisms of this person on the video. It's very important to us to get some closure with that. And, but at the same time, I want to definitely publicize that my wife was she was a great woman, a great a wife, a great mother, a great friend, and she will be missed by many people. But
They had
please,
3 daughters together too.
Please be diligent as you can and review the video and report anything to the Midlothian Police Department. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
I guess this is your last time. You're not going to speak again after this. Is that correct?
They keep asking questions. They keep him there.
I don't
That's
want
what reporters
to,
do.
in terms of,
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and so I don't know if you guys heard it or not. It's just basically an interview he did, I believe, the same day or maybe the next day. It was soon after. And I'm sure they were all lined up out of his house, and he wanted to get out there and, answer some questions, probably if anything, to get him off, to move on. He did another interview too, where I think he just told his kids, one of them checked in with his daughters, and then he has to deal with the media, then deal with the shirt, and all that stuff, and people. I mean, I won't say a lot, but sometimes when these happen, it's somebody, a husband, but he was out of town, alibi, and the father, his father had alibi. He was in California. So, man, that's not clear halfway across the country. So, neither one of them could be there. Brandon's like 6'1", 6'2". Even the father-in-law is probably 5'10". He was, 3 or 4 inches too tall to be, the person in the video. So I don't think it was either one of them two. So let me go ahead and see here if I can find the actual footage of this. This is a forensic. Yeah, I want to find the actual footage of. There was a guy that was looked into. A former cop, but he had an alibi. I could play that video, but nothing came out of it, so I'm not going to play that. I kind of just see if I want to play a surveillance or just actual surveillance of the person in the church. It doesn't show them doing it, it just shows them walking around. So let me see if this is what we're. Yeah, okay. I think this is what we need here. So let's go ahead and show this. I don't know if there's any sound of this or not, but this is them walking around, and this is the person because this is the footage, And I believe they have them going in the same room where Missy was murdered. I don't know if they have the footage of them or whatnot, but they don't have. Yeah, they didn't put it out there if they have it. I don't know if you can see, but it looks like they're trying to get into the door. They're trying to, I don't know, maybe shimmy that lock, get that lock, prod that lock, pick that lock. They're putting their hands on their vest, and there's the woman's sway, feminine sway. There it is. And then now, yeah, it's hard to tell. This is interesting here. This is like a half door. They open this half door up, and then boom, they look up like, oh, I didn't expect that. And it's like one of those half doors. And it looks like they're going to walk in there, and then they don't. They walk back out. They leave the doors open. Maybe that's to. And they said that there's signs saying cameras. So they're doing all this under my assumption that they know the cameras are playing. There's a flashlight. Looks like maybe a head flashlight. They go in the room. I think that might be the room where they grab like a box or something, like a little box, they said. And they have like a hammer, too. I don't know if you can see it. I believe this is where they walk down. Yeah, the hammer. They take the hammer to, they break a glass. I don't know if it's a window or what. You can't see it. It's out of frame. And people say the way you can't see it. I know there's one where it show it. When you're hitting the hammer, you can see. They're saying when they swing the hammer, it looks like a female. Here's a Nancy Grace video.
Joining us now, in addition to Scott Brooks from the Waxahachie Sun, is Renee Jones. Renee is Missy's dear friend and coworker. Renee, thank you for being with us. As the days pass and Missy's case is still unsolved, what goes through your mind?
You're constantly trying to figure out who did it. Was the car involved? Are the resources that we have enough? You look at the facts, and although the facts are there, the evidence is not. We know, like you said, we know what time she arrived. We know what time the perpetrator was in the church. But what we don't know is who is this person? How did they arrive? Did the Ultima at the SWAFA have anything to do with it? And how did they get away without even being seen?
So many of the facts were out there in the first months following Missy's murder. For instance, we see the perpetrator, Renee. We know it had to be targeted. Who else would be in the Midlothian church at that time of the day dressed in this getup? Obviously not looking for anything to steal, just wandering around until, bam, they nearly collide with Missy Bevers and then stab her dead. It's so obvious to me, Renee. And we've looked at all the usual suspects, many of them ruled out. Who is this person, Renee? Do you believe it's a man or a woman?
My gut kind of tells me it's a woman, and I tend to rely on that a lot. But
I think it is. They got short hair there.
Man, it's really tough.
Joining us is forensics expert Joseph Scott Morgan, professor of forensics, Jacksonville State University, author of Blood Being Feet on Amazon,
the glass with the hammer.
A hit series podcast, Body Bags, with Joe Scott Morgan. Joe Scott, you and I have pored over the evidence in this case. And when you look at the perp walking through the halls, okay, testing, I mean, she doesn't even know what they're there for, obviously, so they're clearly not coming in to steal anything. I mean, who singles out the Creekside Midlothian Church at 4 o'clock in the morning, for Pete's sake? I guarantee you what they're looking for is, where is Missy Bevers going to have her indoor class? That's what they're looking for. But the person is slew-footed. In other words, without deviation, the right foot goes outward with every step. We know the height. We know the approximate weight. We know that this type of murder is typically committed by a man.
Yeah.
We know it's got to be somebody within that area or arranged by someone in that area. Joe Scott, what more can be done, for Pete's sake?
I can tell you this, the person that perpetrated this crime had an awareness of that environment, so much to the point that they felt the need to cover their face. So they knew that they would be in amongst cameras with video surveillance.
That's what I thought too.
And here's another thing for me as a former investigator, the idea of the timing. I don't know about you, you know, but you know, the idea of getting up at this time of day lies kind of outside the norm for most people.
That's
and
when it's the most
have
quiet.
to meet up there before she is arriving. So this requires quite a bit of planning. I think that that's rather obvious. And just to get this rig on that this person has, however they went about purchasing it, however they went about acquiring it, is going to be time consuming as well. Did they do it out in the parking lot? Did they do it at home in the safety of their home so that they could just hop in the car and go? I think that those are big indicators here.
The time of the day, even the weather outside suggests this was a targeted murder.
No.
Breaking news tonight, exercise mom Missy
There you
Beaver
go.
stabbed dead with multiple puncture wounds to the head and chest inside the local church.
There's reports that
The
she
mom
was
of three arrives around 4 a.m. to teach
shot
an aerobics
with
class.
a
Surveillance video
pew-pew.
actually catches her killer disguised in full SWAT gear. And after watching the video, police suggest the killer has an injured right foot. An unnamed male colleague has his trash sifted through, but why?
There are
Cops
some
bring in
suspects.
advanced stingray
Nothing's
equipment
come
to
out of it.
capture
They
the
might get
killer's
into that.
cell phone data, but still no arrest. Who killed exercise mom Missy Bevers? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us.
I need a cool intro like that. That's why I got to figure out how to do it anyway. That's why no one's coming on here. I don't have a cool intro.
Fitness instructor Missy Bevers murdered in cold blood during early morning hours at Midlothian, Texas church.
Look at that.
The suspect,
She was in shape.
captured on the grainy surveillance video, is still unidentified.
Wow. Who killed Missy Bevers after 8 years? Still no arrest. First of all, listen to this.
First time surveillance captured the suspect on video
16,
was
that's
about
like
10
10
minutes
years.
before 4 a.m. Miss Beavers arrived at about 4:16 in the parking lot and entered the church immediately. A few minutes later, she was inside the church, not realizing the intruder was already inside, and shortly thereafter, she was murdered inside of the church.
Who is intent on committing a murder at 4 o'clock in the morning? Who lay in wait for exercise mom Missy Bevers? This could not have been random. Joining me, an all-star panel to make sense of what we know right now. But first to Scott Brooks, president publisher for the WaxahachieSun.com. Scott, thank you
Yeah, I
for
believe
being
this
with
guy
us.
interviewed Brandon
Bring us
not
all
too
up
long
to
ago.
date. For those that don't recall the murder of Missy Bevers, what happened?
Well, early on a Monday morning, pouring down rain, Missy was set up as usual to do her routines, her class in a parking lot of a local church on what is usually a busy highway between Waxahachie and Midlothian. And given that it was raining, she went inside to set up, and that's when she was killed. That was on April 18th, 2016. I was sure, as the head of the local media company then,
Kettlebell there. You could do everything
whoever
with
did
that.
it would be caught within
Full body
maybe
kettlebell.
hours or days. But here we are 8 years later, and still exercises unsolved. As far as I'm concerned, it just continues to be a bit of a cluster of a mess in terms of solving this case.
That's one way to put
Wow,
it.
beautiful.
Over 3,000 tips
Man,
have come in
I tell you, I
on
would've
Missy
went to her
Bevers'
camp.
murder. She leaves home in the early morning hours, still dark outside, and she sends out a group text telling everybody, hey, we're still exercising gladiator style this morning. Even though it's raining, we're moving our class indoors. And she goes in around 4:15 a.m. to set up. Who in the hay is out in the rain entering that church?
Their students found her.
Waiting for Missy Bevers. Listen.
As you probably already know, this case weighs
I
very
believe he was
heavily on
like
us. Our
new.
investigative team, our department,
He just started it.
as well. We're committed to identifying the person or persons responsible for Missy's death. We're not going to rest until we do so.
Joining us now, in addition to Scott Brooks from the Waxahachie Sun, is Renee Jones. Renee is Missy's dear friend and co-worker. Renee, thank you for being with us as the days pass.
I think that's a different Renee.
And Missy's case is still unsolved. What goes through your mind?
You're constantly trying to figure out who did it. Was the car involved? Are the resources that we have enough? You look at the facts, and although the facts are there, the evidence is not. We know, like you said, we know what time she arrived. We know what time the perpetrator was in the church. But what we don't know is who is this person? How did they arrive? Did the Ultima at the SWAFA have anything to do with it? And how did they get away without even being seen?
So many of the facts.
Yeah, no cameras were outside either. Forgot to mention that the cameras were out outside.
Murder, for instance,
and I think
we see the perpetrator, Renee. We know it had to be targeted. Who else would be in the Midlothian
That's
church
the argument.
at that
I'll get
time
into
of the
that.
Day, dressed in this getup?
Argument, but was it targeted?
Obviously
was
not
it
looking
somebody
for
there
anything to steal,
just breaking into church
just
and Missy come
wandering
across the crime?
Wandering around until, bam, they nearly collide with Missy Bevers and then stab her dead. It's so obvious to me, Renee. And we've looked at all the usual suspects, many of them ruled out. Who is this person, Renee? Do you believe it's a man or a woman?
My gut kind of tells me it's a woman, and I tend to rely on that a lot. But at the end of the day, it could be a man. You know, it's really tough.
Joining us is forensics expert Joseph Scott Morgan, professor of forensics, Jacksonville State University, author of Blood Beneath My Feet on Amazon, and star of a hit series podcast, Body Bags, with Joe Scott Morgan. Joe Scott, you and I have pored over the evidence in this case. And when you look at the perp walking through the halls, okay, testing, I mean, she doesn't even know what they're there for, obviously, so they're clearly not coming in to steal anything. I mean, who singles out the Creekside Midlothian Church at 4 o'clock in the morning, for Pete's sake?
Yeah, that's unheard
what they're
of.
looking for is where's Missy Bevers going to have her indoor class. That's what they're looking for.
Because a lot of people donate
the
cash.
person is slew-footed. In other words, without deviation, the right foot goes outward with every step. We know the height. We know the approximate weight. We know that this type of murder is typically committed by a man. We know it's got to be somebody within that area or arranged by someone in that area. Joe Scott, what more can be done, for Pete's sake?
I can tell you this, the person that perpetrated this crime had an awareness of that environment, so much to the point that they felt the need to cover their face. So they knew that they would be in amongst cameras with video surveillance. And here's another thing for me as a former investigator, the idea of the timing. I don't know about you, but the idea of getting up at this time of day lies kind of outside the norm for most people. And that you have to meet up there before she is arriving. So this requires quite a bit of planning. I think that's rather
already
obvious.
there.
And just to get this rig on that this person has, however they went about purchasing it, however they went about acquiring it, is going to be time consuming as well. Did they do it out in the parking lot? Did they do it at home? in the safety of their home so that they could just hop in the car and go. I think that those are big indicators here.
The time of the day, even the weather outside suggests this was a targeted murder. Listen.
Midlothian, Texas is having some severe weather. Not severe enough to prevent mother of three Missy Bevers' early morning fitness class as she posts on Facebook, "If it's raining, we're still training. No excuses. You are gladiators." Missy informed students because of the rain, they will be training inside the church.
I love
running
in the rain, man. It's
Scott Brooks joining us, president publisher,
summertime running in the rain. I love
son. Scott, she was in the peak. She was at the peak of her physical powers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When she says gladiator class, she meant it. Do you see those biceps on her?
Yeah.
My point is,
jealous.
She could fight back, Scott Brooks.
Yeah.
Yes, there's no question about it. Missy was known
Look at that.
In our community for her gladiator work. In addition to being a
24-inch pythons.
Person, she was a gladiator, as you just said, and took this stuff really serious.
Scott Brooks, at the time, of course, at the time of a homicide, all the dirty laundry comes out. Just because there may have been marital issues does not mean the husband is guilty. As a matter of fact, her husband was, as I recall, on a gambling cruise with a group of his friends, kind of a trip they did every year, which makes me also think the killer knew the husband would be gone. Of course, maybe did he plan it? Did he hire a hitman? Yeah, anything's possible, but no evidence that has ever emerged. Even though investigators have searched, of course they look. The husband, lover, boyfriend, ex is always the first suspect. He was not in town or even in state. So I'm just trying to figure out what your thoughts are on the marital problems, because it opens up a whole Pandora's box. If Missy Bevers had a boyfriend, did the boyfriend's wife or girlfriend?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to get into all that stuff. I'm sorry. I just gotta see if they're talking about some more stuff that pertains to the case here. I don't want to get in that stuff. I'm sorry. Let me do this. All right. Yeah, I don't want to get in that stuff. I'll just do a recap here. We're about an hour in. I might come back and do another one. But yeah, I'll leave it at there for now. What was it? April 18th. Said it earlier. Yeah, it's coming up on almost 10 years. This person could be deceased by now. So yeah, just real quick, the big thing was, that's what I thought they were getting into. It seems like Nancy thinks that it was targeted, but the other thing was, like, the person could have been in there, previously robbing the church, or just in there maybe on some substance, and decided to go around and they broke. I believe they broke into the back, and they drove up. There was a black SUV vehicle sighting, and the cameras weren't working outside. And then, let me show the video. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. Yeah, let me show the video of the vehicle driving around, and then let me see. Yeah, this is the vehicle they believe. I gotta find it, guys. Give me 1 second. And they find one where it's like I don't want to go to somebody's try not to get struck. So I'm trying to find one where maybe it's like a news or something. So we showed the footage of the perp, who they believe to be the perp inside. Ah, here it is. So
Video of a suspicious car on the morning a mother and fitness trainer was murdered inside a Midlothian church. Could it provide the answer that has become really a national murder mystery? Hi, and good evening, everybody. I'm Steve Eager, first on Fox 4 News at 5:30 tonight. Police would like to talk to the driver of that car about the murder of Missy Bevers. She was beaten to death last April at the church as she got ready to teach a workout class inside. Police released images of a car they wanted to know more about, but now this surveillance video has surfaced. Fox 4's Natalie Solis at Midlothian Police Headquarters with the story. Natalie.
Well, Steve, Missy Bevers was murdered nearly 9 months ago, and now what people are talking about is that surveillance video from a nearby gun store, and it shows a vehicle clearly out of place. This is the surveillance video from SWFA Outdoors near Creekside Church of Christ in Midlothian from April 18th, a couple of hours before Missy Bevers' murder. A silver Nissan Altima slowly circling the parking lot. At one point, the driver cuts off the lights and turns them back on. The vehicle caught in multiple angles by the store's cameras. Police say this is the same vehicle seen in a surveillance photo released in May. They say they chose to only release the photo instead of the video because the photo contained what appeared to be a distinctive emblem or sticker on the back bumper. Police say they have yet to ID the car or its driver, but do not think it's tied to Bevers' murder.
We need closure.
Missy's husband, Brandon Bevers, is declining interviews, but did talk to Fox 4 when the photo was initially released.
I've pretty much exhausted every scenario and every avenue that I can think of who could have done this.
This is a murder mystery that has attracted national attention. The killer recorded on surveillance video roaming the halls of the church with a distinctive gait and dressed in police-style garb. The car video came to light after SWFA posted it on YouTube last month. The store's owner says he immediately turned it over to police after the murder, but it was only recently posted online after an attempted break-in. Creekside Church of Christ in clear view from the gun store windows.
In a strange way, I'm thankful for the attention that this is receiving.
I like the old fuel pump in the back.
It goes back to the fact that this happened in a house of God, and that's pretty disturbing.
Yeah, it is.
Well, Midlothian police say that they would still like to talk to the person who was driving that car, if only to officially cross them off the list. Now, they also tell me that they did have a new person of interest as recent as last month, but that person has since been cleared.
Yeah, I believe that was the Bobby Joe Wayne Henry guy that, yeah, they cleared him. Yeah, complex case. I mean, I saw something. I followed the sites and everything where, like, maybe things were, maybe something was happening. I haven't heard really anything else. I don't know whether I should say this or not. Yeah, he should have. Sorry, I'm watching seeing the videos. I'm just trying to figure out if there's anything else really here to show. Anything. Yeah, I really just wanted to do kind of like a recap of it. I was kind of hoping maybe somebody come into the chat, some people come into the chat and react with them. It's hard, because no one's come in yet, and that's all right. So I'm kind of maybe gonna probably cut this off Yeah, I'll just go ahead and cut this off. And, so hopefully people watch the replay here and maybe eventually get some people come in the chat. Yeah, I want to play the. You want to play this? Yeah. Okay.